This is the Scotsman World Cup podcast, and on today's episode we will be getting the latest updates from the Scotland camp ahead of the Morocco match, finding out how the Tartan Army are faring on day 6 of the tournament, and celebrating a historic double for a Scottish Premiership start. Hello and welcome to the Scotsman World Cup podcast. My name's Matthew Elder and I'm delighted to be joined by our top reporting team out in America, Alan Pattullo and Catherine Hay. The tournament is very much in full swing now. We're on day 6 already, 14 matches down, just the 90 to go. We've got favourites France taking on Senegal tonight. Defending champions Argentina also begin their campaign against Algeria. But there's only one place to start, and that is with yourself, Alan. I think our listeners would like an explanation for why you were a no-show on yesterday's podcast.
All right. Yeah, sorry about that. It was travel chaos in America. My flight from, let's get this right, Boston to Charlotte on Sunday night was cancelled while we were in the taxi on the way to the airport because of a weather event. So, it caused all kind of logistical problems, but managed to get on another flight yesterday morning at 10 o'clock down to Charlotte. So it wasn't the end of the world, but yeah, meant I was travelling when I think you recorded yesterday's podcast. But I'm here now, here at the Charlotte FC training camp again. It's a short stint, this one. I've barely just got here, and then we're heading back up to Boston tomorrow. So, I've got a press conference later on to attend with Lyndon Dykes, the player. So that's an interesting player to interview, given his potential involvement this Friday against Morocco. So we'll get his thoughts on that game, and you do wonder whether he's going to perhaps be given the starting jersey in that lone frontman role, which I think everybody seems to assume Steve Clarke's going to go with against Morocco. So it's interesting times again this week. It's as you can, I don't know if you can make out behind me, but it's quite an overcast day, so a lot cooler than it has been in the recent days here in America, certainly in Charlotte and in Boston. So the players were given having a good thorough workout this morning, in sort of less suffocating conditions. So they all looked in pretty good spirits and pretty good fettle. As the countdown continues to a game that's, you can't really overestimate just how important it is, isn't it? Potentially historic night on Friday night.
Certainly, if we take a point from that game, we're almost certainly into the next round. So hopefully we can take something from Morocco. But as you mentioned, Alan, you were observing training this morning. Is there anything that you can sort of tell us from that? Scott McKenna has obviously been the one injury concern. He missed that Haiti match. Was he back in the fold?
Yeah, he was, and it was it's pretty. We get to watch the first 15 minutes, so it's quite you get to a brief glimpse at what's going on. Obviously, they don't do too much work of consequence while the journalists are there. But it was interesting just watching them. It was quite interesting. We were at the end of the park where the goalkeepers were all warming up. It's quite interesting watching them and their sort of intense kind of diving around, and Chris Woods was putting them through their paces. Craig Gordon was there, present and correct, and obviously Angus Gunn. I'm guessing Angus Gunn will continue as number one, obviously against Morocco. But it was just fascinating being up so near to watching these players preparing for such a huge match. But they all looked in pretty good spirits, as I said. They're the sort of a sort of possession game, and they were all sort of laughing and cheering each other as they if there were any sort of bad touches, etc. So it was good. Yeah, they were good form. Steve Clarke was there. He sort of welcomed the media. He's continued to be in a good mood, and why not after Saturday night's win? Am I right in saying, Matthew? I think Scotland are at this point only one of 3 European teams that have managed to register a win. So, people were, it was easy to be a bit sniffy about a 1-0 win over Haiti. But I think, that just underlines the value of it. And it's, as does Spain's surprise draw against Cape Verde yesterday. So there has been, a couple of shocks already. And fortunately, Scotland haven't been the victims of one.
Yeah, I know there was some disappointment among some members of the Tartan Army about the 1-0 win over Haiti. I wasn't one of them. I think it was a good result. Any win in a World Cup, as we know over the years, is a good win. Move on to Catherine. We just discovered as we joined the call today that it's your birthday, so we'll start by wishing you a very happy birthday. How are you celebrating it out in Boston?
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, it's quite a year to be celebrating out here in the US for the World Cup. Certainly be a memorable one. I mean, on the editor's orders, he suggests I go to the only Scotland bar here in Boston, which is the Haven, which has been in the news recently for taking a lot of kegs of tenants in preparation for the Scotland celebrations for the World Cup. So I might head down there a little bit later, guaranteed to bump into members of the Tartan Army for sure. So that will be one way of celebrating it. But yeah, I think being out on the streets as well in Boston today is a good thing to see, because we've got Iraq and Norway playing later at Foxborough Stadium. And so it's great to be able to document some of the fan action from other countries as well. I was just down at Boston Common last night, where for the last few days it's sort of been dominated by Tartan Army fans playing bagpipes and dancing and kilt swishing around every corner. But last night the Iraq fans descended on the bandstand in the centre of the park with Arabic folk chants and drums and horns and their flags waving. So it's quite funny seeing Boston kind of change outfits as the different games take place in the city. But no doubt, what are we, Tuesday? I just think given the build up to the Haiti game on the weekend, I think the Tartan Army, they've definitely had a rest day yesterday, but I think they'll be coming out in full force very soon, if not already, because we've only got a few days to go till Morocco.
I was going to ask how the Tartan Army are coping, given it is day 6 of the tournament, so I'm glad to hear that they did have a bit of a rest day yesterday, because that is quite an effort to keep going through that amount of days. But you have to make sure that you mention when you go down to the Scottish bar that is your birthday, because I'd be expecting you to get a few free drinks from the Tartan Army once they discover that.
Obviously, I've got to drink within reason, because writing copy is going to be equally important. But I want to make sure that that's all coherent and makes sense. But I mean, it's nice, obviously, being across the pond and away from family and friends. I think it will... I can't really think of a better place probably to go and just say it's my birthday, and I can, I'm sure I'll be welcomed into the celebrations. If not, maybe get a pint here and there. But I think it'll be good fun going down there. And as I said, just looking to document fans as well ahead of the game tonight in Boston. So that's for Norway and Iraq as well.
Just slightly concerned me how much the Tartan Army will be spending over this sort of week in Boston. How much is a pint in Boston?
Probably about the equivalent of £6, I'd say. So it's actually similar prices. But just looking at my own spending for things, for just food, it's between airport prices and then city centre Boston, because obviously we need to be in this area to document a lot of the action going on. I can't even imagine. I mean, the fact that several pubs here and the fan zone in Boston city centre ran out of beer means that the Tartan Army are certainly spending a lot of money on alcohol. But and then just to think on top of what some of them are already spending, I spoke to a fan yesterday who said it cost him 10 grand for him, his son and his wife to do this trip. And they are going to all 3 games. Others who've been to 1 or 2 games, it's around sort of £3,000-4,000. And that's without all the kind of day-to-day spending on pints. It'd be interesting actually to just do a few interviews at the end to just clock up how much the day-to-day maintenance of fans in the city were, see what that covered in terms of booze and food.
Yeah, the Tartan Army bank balances are certainly getting drained. But Alan, the Scotland camp yesterday spoke about the sort of the impact the support's been having around the Scotland squad, and they're very aware of how much the Tartan Army's been having an impact around Boston as well. And the players have had a more relaxed atmosphere this time in terms of being able to go out and about in Boston and kind of mingle with the fans, and they're enjoying that side of it.
Yeah, I think it's been important. I mean, Stephen Naismith underlined that difference. He was quite interesting, I thought, yesterday, some of what he said. It was quite interesting, a line that he said about Steve Clarke. He said Steve Clarke's realised that his mood has an impact on everyone around him. There was some suggestion that Steve Clarke was quite his sort of slightly grumpy nature was having an effect on the players at the last camp 2 years ago in Germany. He's quite an exacting figure, I think, Steve Clarke. He demands a lot of the players, and I just think it became a very oppressive atmosphere in Germany, in the Bavarian Alps, wasn't it? And that was kind of made more oppressive by the fact you're in this lovely little idyll which was surrounded by mountains, and it just sort of compounded the sense of oppressiveness. But here, as you can see behind me, it's a very very leafy, very nice training ground, but it's it's not detached from Charlotte. It's not just on the fringes. The players can, I think, go into town. They're given that kind of freedom. And in Boston as well, the team has arrived a couple of days before the game rather than the day before. I just think it just allows a bit more relaxation. We've seen videos and pictures of the players meeting fans around Boston, and the players have all been allowed to have contact with their families too. So it just seems a more mature outlook, I think, for men of sort of in their 20s and 30s, 40s in some cases, in one case. So they've been treated like adults, and I think that's having a good effect on the atmosphere. I mean, just as I say, just been at training this morning. It looks fantastic. Everyone's in great spirits. Kind of a bit of clowning around, but not too much. And I think Steve Clarke's got it right this time. That's the point Stephen Naismith was making yesterday. It just seems, and the connection with the fans as well has been very, very strong. The players can't avoid going on social media and even on television. You go into a bar or in a hotel and you look up at the TV screen and it's images of the Tartan Army at Fenway Park on Sunday night. So it really has had a huge impact on America, the Tartan Army. So I don't think there can be any complaints about Scotland's impact on the tournament so far.
They've certainly been getting it right off the pitch, Scotland and their fans. Are they going to get it right on the pitch again on Friday against Morocco? Ben Gannon-Doak spoke yesterday as well, Alan. Do we need him to start against Morocco? And I know there will be a formation change to accommodate either an extra defender or midfielder, but do we need that out ball that Ben Gannon-Doak provides us?
I think we do. It's interesting. It's a real, Steve Clarke's comment after the game has been analysed and debated, hasn't it, over and over again. He was a bit cool on Gannon-Doak's performance when he was asked about it. He talked up Lewis Ferguson, but sort of said, well, Ben's Ben, he said, when asked about Ben Gannon-Doak, and I'm not quite sure what he meant by that. But, I don't think Gannon-Doak could have done much more on Saturday night. He really, took the game to Haiti when he had the chance. Perhaps it was just the only problem was Scotland were having a trouble finding him on occasion. But I think he has to play just to get Scotland up the park. And I think an outball will be required against Morocco, who are going to, let's face it, probably have a majority of possession. So I would play him, although he himself said he was quite happy with either way. If he's on the bench and has to come and make a impact off the bench, that's fine as well. But I think he will start.
Away from Scotland, Alan, but still with the Scottish theme, Elijah Just, the Motherwell player, scored a double for New Zealand in their 2-2 draw with Iran last night. Two cracking goals. Great advert for the SPFL, obviously, and the first Motherwell player ever in history to score at the World Cup finals. Caps off quite a season for the New Zealander. Yeah,
fantastic. Yeah, what a player and what an impact. I was wondering, do Motherwell get what's the FIFA? What the rules? Do Motherwell get a extra pack of cash for goals for a player scoring a goal?
I don't think there's anything involved in goals. I think it's just participation,
just appearances.
I think they will get some extra zeros on the transfer fee that they're now going to receive for Elijah Just this summer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, this is what the World Cup's all about, isn't it? What a stage for a player to make a name for himself. Obviously, he's made a name for himself already in Scotland, but in the wider world now, there'll be plenty of scouts jotting down his name, I'm sure, as we speak.
He was certainly linked with Celtic before the World Cup finals, but then maybe missed the boat again, Celtic, with that one. We shall see. Catherine, what are you off to do now? Are you heading off to the Scottish Bar now?
I'm just writing up a couple of stories from fans who I interviewed yesterday, and then going to be heading out because it's only 11:30 here, so I've got the afternoon to pick up the atmosphere that will be filling the streets, no doubt, this afternoon. And probably going to head to the Scottish Bar. I've just got a little message from one of the fans who I'm in touch with, who's on a fishing boat in Boston Harbour, so maybe head down there and see if I can catch fish. But there's lots going on, and just really wanting to make sure to kind of pick up the energy as well from Norway and Iraq, given it's their big game tonight. But there's a bit like when I arrived. I mean, I wrote a piece, you can find it on the Scotsman, about how arriving into Boston on Thursday last week, every second person was a Scot in the streets, and I'd say it's still pretty similar vibe in the street, even though some of them are taking a break from wearing kilts. There's still a lot of Scottish fans out and about, and as mentioned earlier, they'll be building up the celebrations again ahead of Friday, so we'll document some of that as well.
Excellent. Look forward to reading both of what both of you file later on tonight then. But for now, thanks very much for joining us, Catherine and Alan, and thanks for everyone at home for listening. We'll see you on the next Scotsman World Cup podcast.